Hey again, and welcome back to MBA Virtual. This is Module 1, which is all about defining data. Now, I thought it would be pretty important before we went off and explored turning data into insights was to get a better understanding about what the definition of data is. In the simplest form, data is all about hardcore facts. So it is factual information that is either a statistic or a measurement that we have a look at. Now, there's different ways in which you can categorize data, and if you haven't done so already, what I would recommend that you do is actually download the set of slides from the Moodle shell so that you can actually go through these slides as I go through these 3 modules. So the slides that we're looking at today is really slides 3, 4, and 5 of the pack. So slide 3 goes into a dictionary definition of what data is. If you look at slide number 4, it's a slide that I had already gotten you guys to have a look at in workshop 2 and to start filling in each of your teams. Now, the other thing I've gotten you to do is to have a look at that 360 video, observation video, and you will have made some notes around what you've observed in that video. Given that we are in a digital transformation age at the moment, I thought I would look at the categorization of data with that lens, and there are 13 different data types in which digital transformation tends to look at it. So bear with me while I just flip the whiteboard. So as you can see on the whiteboard here, I've got 13 different types of data, and this is with a view of digital transformation as the perspective. Now, if for example, you looked at the 360 observation video, you could actually categorize the data that you observed out of there quite differently. So for example, I would tend to categorize data in there by things that you would have seen or heard in that video. If you were here in real life and I actually got you to do that exercise, but here in real life on the property, I'd probably add other categories to that list, such as what you might actually feel, what you might actually taste, and what you might actually smell, in addition to the sight and the hearing. So all up, basically I would be saying, look at that data in terms of the 5 senses that all of us tend to forget to use. Very different, as you can see, from how, if you were looking at it from a digital transformation perspective, what different data types you might actually come up with. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of these in detail because what I'll do is provide you with the link where I got this information and you can go and have a look at that yourselves. But I thought it would be worth just sort of exploring a couple of things with you that, that sort of stood out for me in terms of when I looked at the different types of data here. One is around big data. Now, everybody has heard about big data, and there are actually quite a few different definitions or interpretations around what big data is. I guess my lens on what big data is, and given my experience in setting up data warehouses for large corporations, is that it is essentially a large mass of a combination of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data that come from a number of different sources, and the size is enormous in terms of what you actually tend to collect. Another interesting one that I came across here is what we would refer to as dark data. And dark data is simply data that you just don't use anymore, so it's not relevant anymore. The other one is unverified and outdated data. Now, interestingly enough, most organizations will have this type of data, and that is actually data that hasn't been qualified, but yet, or do people know where it may have come from? And so it's very important that if you do have this data, that organizations don't make decisions based on this type of data. Now, the next slide that I want you to refer to, which is on slide 5, and what it talks about here is what are the top 10 data and analytical trends over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, I refer to a Gartner research material that you can refer to again I will include that hyperlink into the Moodle shell for you to go and look at. But really, again, I'm not going to go through each of these in detail. Just want to sort of touch on a couple of things that might be of interest to you. And so I'll go through these while I have the slide up on the video itself, and I'll talk through those.
So here we have the slide on the top 10 technology trends in data and analytics. As I said, I'm not going to go through all of these trends in detail because you can refer to the Gartner paper that I will send you a link on in Moodle. But there's probably maybe 3 or 4 trends that I thought would be worth exploring and have a discussion on. The first one is trend number 1, which is around augmented analytics. Now, when I reflect on this in terms of what it actually means for an organization, I think that this trend here is really going to set businesses apart from each other if they can get to a point where all of those insights and everything are automated such that the most important ones actually surface to the top. And that's really going to allow businesses to optimize their decision making, which at the moment I'm seeing a lot of businesses struggle with, which is just that decision-making process itself. Whether or not there's not a framework that is in place or they don't have the data to be able to make those decisions. But in order for organizations to be much more agile, there does need to be quicker and much easier ability to make those decisions quickly. The second one that I wanted to explore was in the area of commercial AI and machine learning. So again, we're coming across a lot more open source platforms these days, which really allows the domination of artificial intelligence and machine learning. There is so much innovation in this space at the moment that I think that over the next 3 to 5 years, we're really going to see this skyrocket in terms of what can be achieved through commercial AI and machine learning. So I think that's actually a space that we need to watch quite closely. The third one is in relation to blockchain and data and analytics. Now, blockchain, it can be quite controversial in terms of the topic itself, because at the end of the day, what it's really doing is opening up transparency across the supply chain. So you can basically see the lineage of any product or service in terms of where it came from. So as an example, you'll be able to see where the beef that you've bought has actually come from. So where did it actually go along the way? And it'll be able to track. Now, the complexity or the challenge in relation to blockchain is in the actual integration, is the integration effort involving the data, the applications, and the business processes, because you're looking at different parties along the way, which could be operating very different technology and business model environments. So to capture all that data along the way can be quite cumbersome and quite challenging. The last one I wanted to sort of touch on is in relation to trend number 10, which is persistent memory servers. Now, my read of this is that the way we're moving with data and the size and the scale and the volume of data means that we need quicker processing speed. So the faster we can process the data in terms of the performance, and also the bigger the memory and the bigger the storage that databases are able to actually provide, then it actually allows businesses to extract much more actionable insights from that data much more quickly. So again, watching this space in terms of what that actually means, also in conjunction with a lot of organizations also moving to the cloud. So this is again another trend to sort of keep your eye on. So those are probably just sort of the top 4 areas that I wanted to cover off at this stage. But again, feel free to definitely look through the Gartner article and get your head around that, because you never know, some of these things may be quite relevant for your own business. So that concludes my presentation on Module 1, which is what is data. Hopefully you will enjoy the next two modules, which is now turning data into insights, and the third one is on insights into actions. So take care, and we shall see you again soon. Bye for now.